Distinguished audience and participants of this conference, Vitaly Khan-Khoisky said, he wrote to General Thompson, it is not difficult to cast 4,000 Azerbaijani soldiers to the sea, into the sea, but the Azerbaijani people have always been very hospitable to all foreigners coming to Azerbaijan. Very little number of other nations can be compared with our country as for its hospitality. You can call it pluralism or whatever. These people, these nations had never had the claims for the territory of any other country. Why I started my speech in this way? ADR. The ADR period was a very honorable period in our history. When we always speak about this republic, our opponents always say, what could have been done within the 23-month period? We as Azerbaijanis, friendly Turkish Republic and in not very friendly Republic you show us a state that could 350 times could undersign its own decisions within 23 months. So in the Baku city, where we have this conference now, first time 100 years ago became the capital of all Azerbaijan, not of Baku Khanate. So the republic existed for 23 months only, but what it gave to the world. So I'll try to share my thoughts in there. So the first republic in the Muslim East. We are happy very much. So there were a lot of different Muslim countries in the history, but the sentence itself shows first republic in the Muslim East. So it is a great notion of a pride, which is the Azerbaijani Democratic Republic. So we had our history, but we always had the word Azerbaijan. But turning the geographical area of Azerbaijan to the political Azerbaijan was the merit of the ADR. So what it did, what was the great victory of Azerbaijani elite? We're all historians and trust you. So I would like to share one more thought. In the March genocide of 1918 is a very grave event in the history of the Republic of Azerbaijan. We still have the consequences of that event. A lot of atrocities, a lot of dead people, but in our consciousness it was a revolution. The American scholar said the Azerbaijani elite before the March genocide wanted the autonomous republic within the Russian Federation, but after the March genocide showed to the Azerbaijani elite never warm wind can blow from the north. Even happiness cannot come from the north. And therefore, if Azerbaijan is going to be independent, then it will turn into the independent countries among the other countries of the world. And what should it do? It should turn to the Ottomans, and we did it, and we achieved what we wanted. The Republic of Azerbaijan is one of the countries which announced its independence on its own territory. Germany won over France, and Otto von Bismarck announced Germany as an empire. We didn't do that. in Georgia, in Tbilisi, we adopted the Statement of Independence of the National Republic of Azerbaijan, and we announced to the whole world that the Muslim population the Azerbaijani Muslim population built the republic. And the greatest wish of all Azerbaijanis to come to Azerbaijan, not to Baku, but to Ganja. Why not to Baku? Because in Baku that time, the Baku Soviet Council was there, led by Shaumian, and the nation didn't accept this council, but the council ruled Azerbaijan that time and inflicted that genocide against Azerbaijan. Therefore, in 1918, several months, the Republic of Azerbaijan had the gatherings in Ganja, so we had the need for the national army. We first thought to come back to our own territories, to announce ourselves to all world, but the situation was grave here. Why? Because the Tsar Russia had the approach to the people of Azerbaijan in a way that we could not have our conspiracy, military conspiracy, and then we turned out that the Georgians had a lot of soldiers in the Russian army, but at that time there were no Azerbaijanis in the army. There was no Azerbaijani soldiers at all. Therefore, we had to build our army. And therefore, the decision on the 26th of June was made. And then the law on the Azerbaijani language. Every nation is happy to speak his own language and write his own language, saying that I'm independent. I will tell you one grave event of the Soviet Union. I was taking the classes at the Faculty of History, and we had the Iranian consulate. There was an Armenian girl selling water. I apologize before you. In order to buy their water, we had to speak Russian, address her in Russian. If we couldn't address in Russian, we could not buy water from her, from the Armenian girl selling water. Therefore, the greatest victories of the nation, that the Turkish-Azerbaijani language was announced as our national language. And another victory of the Republic, as I mentioned before, to have the power to announce it to the world. There was the relations between the Republic of Azerbaijan and the Ottomans. For the 70 years of the Soviet Union, to stop using the word Azerbaijan Democratic Republic, the English used the word those under Ottomans. Colonel addressed to a soldier, the war is over, you go back home. But on the Caspian Sea, our language is the same with our language, our nation is the same with our nation, and the Armenians, they killed that nation. I turn my back to you. Who want to go back to Ottomans? It's your right, but those who want to go back to the shores of the Caspian Sea, let it be. So not a single soldier returned to their own country, and they went to the shores of the Caspian to help the Azerbaijanis. And from the western Azerbaijan, they came to the shores of Azerbaijan on this path. There have been a lot of casualties on each sport of this path to the shores of the Caspian Sea. All the martyrs, or shaheeds as we call them, they lost their lives. The Ottoman soldiers, they lost their lives to liberate from the Bolsheviks. Sheikh Islam Aghalizadeh, 15, in the area of the Shahid Larhiabane, as we call the Alley of Martyrs, said, the guard sent the Ottoman soldiers as angels for rescue. If they hadn't come, I believe that the country which had no soldiers, what this republic would have been able to do. Just ask this question to you. And they had stayed in Ganja because the power that Xiaomian was leading with the 18,000 soldiers, they already approached Gara Mariam. And what he said to the people, to Gocha people, if you cannot shoot, do not shoot. At least give some water to Ottoman soldiers. Don't save it. This is the history. And this history should be learned to its very common, its very last word. When we think about the Ottomans, Enver Pasha, Nuru Pasha, when we think about hundreds of these people, we always say, rest in peace, rest in peace. If you hadn't had sent them, this republic would have never been able to stay for 23 months. I'll bring as a very, very simple example. Salman Khan will speak about it. But again, nevertheless, the notion of weak Azerbaijan was used. But the greatest influence was also from Iran. In order to bring it to the sincere relations, they call it the Caucasus Azerbaijan. And for Azerbaijan to be acknowledged by the countries of the world, Alimardin Topchibashev went there with its delegation to the Paris conference. And how difficult it was. In Alimardin by Topchibashev, in his letter, said, and then I go to internal policy, he said, I could not convince Woodrow Wilson, the US president, for an hour. I said, is well known to George, but Hayastan is also well known to George. But where did it come from? Where did this Azerbaijan come from? And the delegation of the Republic of Azerbaijan were upset, but they did not leave the Paris conference. Despite the influence from the Armenian delegation, what we achieved on the 11th of January 1920, the Paris conference acknowledged Azerbaijan de facto. This was the great achievement. And when we accessed in 2001 to the Council of Europe, we were very happy about it. And the same happiness was felt on the 11th of January of 1920. One of the greatest victories of the IDR was the parliamentarian republic with the Eastern mentality. It was a great success. What was great about it? There is one law in the world. One parliament deputy for 1,000 voters. But the leadership of ADR broke this law. How did they do that? In the parliamentary laws. For even a very handful of Polish on all other nations, they provide the seat in the parliament. That they were not many in the parliament, but let them speak too. It was the parliament that you could not find the analogy world. And even today and tomorrow, I believe it will be tomorrow, even Armenians who are the enemies of this country, they were given 21 seats. And the laws adopted, they were fair. What is great about these laws? Europe, we both, when we do something, we'll look at them trying to understand what value they're going to give to us. We are telling to the Europe all the time. This nation has been great historically. In June 1999, when we adopted the voting code, we adopted what Europe adopted in 1946. We adopted in 1919, actually, sorry, the suffrage given to women, trying to show what these nation built. At the same time, the greatest success of ADR was also having the population of the Republic of Azerbaijan, regardless of its color, ethnicity, religion, race, and language. Then the ADR also tried to build good relations with all neighboring countries. Of course, with the Ottoman Republic of Batum peace conference and its results with Iran. In the first period, despite all the different objections, but ultimately in March 1920, the first country which acknowledged Azerbaijan de facto and de jure was Iran. And despite the occupied territories, we could build the relations with Armenia and with the European countries on the level of ambassadors and consulates. But the ADR could not build relations with two countries. One of these countries did not build relations, or rather Armenia, but the Soviet Russia did not want to build these relations. And today, as it is the anniversary, 100 years of anniversary of our republic, we want to be far from criticism. All say if there were no concerns within the country, then the National Republic would have survived. And I'm asking, which territory stayed independent from the Tsar Russia? Even Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia were also conquered in 1939 and 40. Now about the education of the ADR. In 1920, as you know, the Bakuzet University was founded, and next year I believe there will be great victory and good articles. I want to speak about 100 students. One of the greatest successes of ADR was that the deputies of the parliament, they spent 3 weeks and spoke to 100 students. Rest in peace to them. They published a book called 100 Students. Just look for each student, what they do for each student, and then they decided to send them overseas. They were sent to overseas, but their fates were bitter. ADR and the history of Azerbaijan has a great glory, great peak of victory. And finally, when I was in Turkey last year, if you allow me, I would like to speak a little bit about the people of Azerbaijan, just a couple of words. I apologize if I have violated time limit. I'm very happy. I always ask this question. And I know the answer, but I ask this question. Show me a prime minister. Doesn't matter. A friend, a relative, of Turkish countries or non-Turkish countries, doesn't matter. Show me a prime minister who would write to his father, send me money. It was our Nasib Bey Yusuf Beyle. He was the prime minister of the ADR. When he was killed, they found in his bag was not the money or the gold. They found a couple of documents on ADR and glasses. Show me a political party member or head of the political party. He returned everything that God gave him. His family, children, house, territory, what he wrote, everything. And his last breath was Azerbaijan. It was Nasib Bey. was Mehmet Emin Rasulzade. But this nation, these people, thinking its history never boasted with its own leaders. Show me out of any country who is face to face, not with the elite, but just to the ordinary soldiers. Why? Because that soldier, that sailor, know how to handle the weapons and to liberate his territories. He said his own last word, it was Hyder Aliyev, in April 2003. This is a great people, not because we belong to it. We have our sincere relations with our friends, to the Turkish country, to the non-Turkish countries, and this conference shows again, by learning its history of ADR, by showing it to the all people of the world, we come closer to Karabakh. Why? Because the Karabakh general governorship and the inheritance we had, as they said, the more territory we had, that ADR owns those territories. So I believe that we will have the ownership of all these territories. Thank you very much.